That's Hashem. Today's Amud is Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph. We're continuing Torah Tes Vav. Till now we learned that someone wants to be Toim the Or HaGonos, which is a Sodus HaTorah, which would be in the Skala, Last Lavai. Based with Mashiach, the way Zeicha to that is being Mala, the Midah of Yira to Sharish. The way you do that is by making Mishpat and Cheshbon Nefesh on yourself, which means that you preempt the Yira which Hashem gives us through Gashmiasika things. In this world there are things which worry us, there are things which we're afraid of, but if we understand that the reason why Hashem sends things to worry us, and then we could be mala worry. We don't have to worry, we don't have to be scared, because we know that Hashem is sending them to us, but we could preempt them by bringing upon ourselves the Yer Shemayim. The way we have Yer Shemayim is through Cheshbon Nefesh. A person is his own judge. He doesn't wait for Hashem to judge him. He judges himself, and he makes a mishpat on himself, and mishpat and din are connected to Yira. Then he's mala the Yira to the shorish, and the shorish of Yira is das. When a person is zeichet to das and Yira, which are both in the leiv, and zeichet to leiv that understands, they could be zeichet to Torah Nigla. Torah Nigla is the name of Har Sinai, which is the name of Shiflus. Hashem chose Dafka Har Sinai because it was a shafa of all the mountains. And through Shiflus of Torah Nigla, which is something which everyone needs, Sinai is more important than Ikaharim. Torah Nigla is something which everyone needs. He's zeichet to Shiflus, and Shiflus is the name of no gvul, of Ein Seif, and through that he's zeichet to have a tam in the Torah Nister, which is believed gvul. And the Rebbe teaches it into Rabbi Chana that Rabbi Chana saw a tzipor, he saw a kruksa, a frog, a tzipor dea. Dea is in of das, tzipor is in of talking, which is your maitzi, the diburim bepeh, the diburei Torah bepeh, and that was like the akra da hagrania, the akra da hagrania, the krab garin, they were maitzi bepeh, the Torah Nigla, and then Yezeicha through the Torah Nigla, which Yezeicha through Aliyah Yira and the Das, through the tzipor through the tzfar dea, either Yezeicha to the Yira, to Das, or Yezeicha to Torah Nigla and to the Torah. Then the Ekad Agrani Kamahave, Shitam Bati. How big is this Ekad Agrani? 60 houses. That's in Tefillah. What shaykhs at Tefillah? Because we call out to Hashem and we use Ta'arim. We call him a Melech, we call him Av, Avinu, Malkenu, and so on and so forth. All types of Ta'arim we use to describe Hashem. And he's always whenever we call out to Hashem, Hashem is always with us. And that's actually Chesed Hashem, that He allows us to use words to call out to Him. Because otherwise, if we wouldn't be able to have words to use to talk to Hashem, to call out to Him, the Shemus Tayar, which of course don't actually describe Hashem, Kav Yachol, we call Him by His names. If we wouldn't have those names, we'd no way to talk to Him, which would no way to have shaykhs to Him, to access. Because it doesn't make sense to call Hashem by Ta'arim and Shvachim and using Tevis and Isias. But that's all Chesed Hashem. That's Shitin Bate. That's the 60 houses. That's the name of Chesed. Because it says the pasuk says Shishim Hema Malachis, that Rashi says in the pasuk Shishim Hema Malachis, that's talking about Avram. Ubati is Lashon Malchus. And that's something about Shishos. Shishos in 60, but Shishos is like a glass that you put in front of a light, so that you have like a stained glass. It's like through that, meaning we really have no Hasagan Hashem, but through the Ta'arim, which we use to describe Hashem, which are not really Shvachim, which are not real true Shvachim and Ta'arim, because you can't really be Masag Hashem is, but through those words that Hashem had Chesed on us, He allows us to call Him, we're able to have Epis Hasaga Him. So that those tefillas, a snake came and swallowed it. That's a hemshech ma'amer b'chana. What's the snake? That's the hasasa, the person. The nachash is a mesis, It tries to get people to do the wrong thing. It tries to get people to daven for their own ta'ilas, like Havlan Chaya, Havlan Mezayne, and which that's the Indian of davening with a gvul. A person davens within Olam Hazeh, not with Olam Haba. The more a person learns Torah Benigla, the more a person is like to shiftless, the more his tefillah isn't about Olam Hazeh anymore. Even if he davens about Olam Hazeh, it's like we spoke about in other Torahs, that when you daven, even daven about Olam Hazeh, but it's not about give me. It's not l'tei elas atzmai. It's because I want to come close to Hashem. I want to be megalaka with Hashem. And a snake comes and tries to swallow up our tefillas, which we were zeichet to through through mishpat and through the Torah, and then a raven comes, a orev comes and swallows up that snake. What's that? Mishum mashcher panav ka'orev. That mishum nasach zara panav ka'orev. Chazal say about orev is an achzar and its children, which means that a person is miskav mesiras nefesh, like we said, when a person learns Torah Benigla and helps him to zeichet mesiras nefesh, to care more about ruchnius, which is the idea of in a certain sense, he's a achzar himself, achzar his children. He doesn't, in a certain sense, he doesn't daven for his children. Father does daven for his children, but he davens not a way of give me. He davens a way of ruchnius. That even when you daven for your children, even when you daven for te'elas atzmai, and even when you daven for the things which you need, but you don't have in mind your te'elas, you have in mind that I should come close to Hashem through these things. So a person has is mekayim ke'alecha ragnu kol hayoim shcharis ka'orev, then you zeicha to the next madrega, which is that this raven comes and sits in the tree. You zeicha to Torah shebenister. Yashas choshech is sisra Torah. They zeicha to through the choshech. The person who's machshech himself, not to look at Olam Hazeh, to feel b'siras nefesh. You blacken your face like a raven. And it's also a oimik hamusik. Sometimes we call something dark because it's so bright that you can't see any light. Like ultraviolet is something which you can't even see. It's like dark because it could be bright with ultraviolet, but you can't see because it's so light. So it means that the raven went and sat in a tree, because a tree is the ilan kol neshmasam ilana rav v'nafik, which is in a haba, and that's in which we're saying that this is a Torah Shabbat which we niskala then that which is zeichet to tefillah, that's riches yamim. So Mela, when Kadosh Baruch Hu is misava l'tfilas l'shei Yisrael, when Klal Yisrael davens and kaviyach we do what Hashem's kaviyach is taiva is, his mekabel kaviyach l'tarnik from us. It's isha reich nichoich l'Hashem, like Chazal say about karbonos, and tefillah is b'makam karban. It's like b'chin the kodesh havigever. Kadosh Baruch Hu is makabel kaviyachol from us. So that's the Indian of nigla and nister, because Nakim Toseviv Gover is the Indian of a malbush, of a nigla, and something which is originally nister becomes niskala. So that means that through all this, a person is zeicha to daven, not for his own telos, but to daven to zeicha to ruchnius, even for everything. Then he's zeicha to be toyim the Torah of the Asalavai, which is the Torah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, something which was nister became nigla, something which was inside became a malbush. And through what by giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu our tefillas, the tefillas which is Masavatu Kaviyachol, the tefillas which are only for Ruchnias. So Rabbi Yochanan says, you see how strong this tree is. They see how strong the Chayach is of Sister Torah, that they can't be nislabish in any guf. Kol zman a person is davening for his own ta'ilas, they can't be zeicha to the Sister Torah. Only someone's mashka panav ka'orev, and even when he davens for ruchnias, for gashmias, he keeps him on ruchnias, then he doesn't daven have, then he can be zeicha to be toyim the Torah she nister. And that's what the Chazal say, that chamisha kinyanim, the Kadosh Baruch Hu has 5 kinyanim in this world. One is the Torah Kini Echad, Shemai V'aretz Kini Echad, and the Torah Kini Echad is Torah Shemai V'aretz Kini Echad, that's in year of Yira. You mallah the Yira to Das. Why? Because Eretz is Yira, like we have pasuk we had before, and das is chibur, v'adam yoda, and that's shemayim. The eish shemayim are connected together. That means you're male the tefillah, you're male through Torah, you're male the das. Avram is kinei echad. That's the end of tefillah, the 60 batim. It's shishim and malachos. Yisrael kinei echad. That's the end of mishpat. Then you have yira, because chukav mishpat of Yisrael. And Beis Hamikdash is a kinyan, because that's the Sisrei Torah that you zeichel to tefillah, which is the Eva of Avram. Hazar concept Eminai, the Inyan of tefillah with Avram. And that's Pshat Pasuk Vati Tilu Mamlechas Kohanim Goy Kodesh. Mamleches is a Torah Benigla. Why? Because it says about the Torah Bi Malachim Imleichu that Umalchus is the Nigla of the Torah. One could Emelech B'Loyam, and the Melech is only Megale his Malchus Begilui through the Am, and that's the Gilui, and that's also everyone needs a Melech, and a Kol Tzrich and a Marchitai was said that in of Tashim Nigla, it's something which everyone needs. Malchus is something which everyone needs, and that's V'atam Mamleches Kanan she was Zeicha the Tashim Nigla, and Mamleches is that's Mamleches, and Kehanim is in Tefillah in of Avram that Hashem told Avram Ata Kohen Li'olam. He's able to go kadosh. That's the Beis Hamikdash, is the Torah Shebenister. Will be the scale as lovey through being mala the year through das to zechet mishpat. As possible, Ela Devar Masher Tedaber El Bnei Yisrael. That's of davar daber. It's davar, which is in the of yira. Like Mishesh Be'yer Sakim, Devar of Nishmayim. So Devar of a person has a Devar, it comes from Yer Shemayim. That's why Eldevar Mashu Tedaber. Bnei Yisrael, the Bnei Yisrael who are Zeichet Mishpat, like we said before. So you see that through being Mikasher Mishpat to Das, that means that through doing a Mishpat on yourself, then you're Zeichet Tosh Benigla. Through that, you're Zeichet through Tosh Benigla, you're Zeichet to tefillah, and tefillah, which is an eifin of Mesias Nefesh, to daven not for yourself but for Hashem. Then you zeicha to Torah Shebenister, which is Sisi Araisa, and that's the idea of Yira as Nidbar Yer Hashem. That's Pshat Pasuk Eini B'nei Eretz, Eini B'nei of Das, Lipokach Ne'enei Shneim. That's the idea of B'nei, that's the idea of Aaron, who's also B'chis Mishpat. Gnos Aaron is Mishpat. And that's Einiz B'nei Eretz in Yira. L'shavas Imadi, that it says that L'shavas Imadi, that's in Sinai, which is Eshken Estaka, that Hashem brings the Shechina down. Eshken Estaka, which is in the L'shavas Imadi, to stay with Hashem, which is in Sinai. And Halach B'derech Tamim, that's the Tefillah, which is in Avram. Hasalach Lefanav L'Yasamim. And Hu Yisher Sin is Sisrei Torah, which is Elam Haba. And that finishes the Mamor Rabbi Barchana, and starting with the next Amud of Torah Zion, we start the Torah of Rebbeinu Mishtoi.